Hi everybody, my name is Sarah, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I take a reference photo from my camera and use watercolor and pen to create this light, airy garden sketchbook page. This is a picture of my sister's garden, and I love the colors, I love the flowers, I love how it seems like it's glowing, so I'm going to be doing pen and ink with watercolor on top and make a cute little piece of artwork. So I'm just marking in some of these biggest shapes. There's a road here, there's some distant trees, there's some closer trees on the left side. There's this little house. I'm kind of editing down some of the details in the back, but in the front, I really want it to be the star of the show. So I'm kind of mapping out and circling where I want these flowers to go, and then making sure it's light enough that I can easily erase it and kind of make edits as I go. I'm using some small Micron pens, and I really enjoyed the drawing portion of this. I really like how the whole thing turns out, but I feel like I could have left it as just a pen drawing and it would have been super, super cute. Okay, apologies to my sister. I don't know what kind of flowers these are, so if you want to let me know, please do. But they're so cute, and I like how they're picking up some of the sun from the sunset and those purple. I don't know if that's lavender. Whatever. It's just glowing. It's pink. It's pretty. We love it. And because I'm working on watercolor paper, I'm using the tooth or texture of that paper to my advantage so that I can get mostly broken lines. I'm not pressing down super, super hard with my pen so that it looks very delicate, which is what I want. I don't want the flowers to be very weighty or have really thick, dark lines because that's just not what the reference photo is showing. These are supposed to be like papery, super light, super ethereal. And that's why I chose such small nib Micron pens and this watercolor paper. Also because I'm doing watercolor on it later, duh. But um, I knew that it was going to help me kind of break up those lines and have it look really delicate. I'm also drawing in just these stalks of flowers in the background. The point is not to try to draw every single petal and leaf of this garden, but to get the general vibes of it. So sometimes I'm just doing little marks to indicate, and sometimes I'm doing like full plant shapes, and I'm kind of just alternating that. Sorry if my voice sounds a little weird in this video. I'm getting over being sick for like the millionth time this year. I'm not sure. It's annoying. Anyway, I'm using a little bit of hatching to give some dimension to these flowers, but the plan was always to add watercolor on top of this, so I don't need to do too much here, but just a little looks really nice. We also have this darker bush on the right side, so I'm kind of going in with just the outline of that general shape and pressing a little bit harder with that because it is darker and I want it to have a little bit more weight to it than the flowers around it. I've been doing a lot of drawing this year, and one of my main YouTube channels that I follow for pen and ink sketches is Stephen Travers' YouTube channel. He's so good at talking about the impact of different mark making, and I'm trying to take the things that I've learned from his channel and apply it to this. And I feel like I've gotten a lot better from like a year ago. A lot of what I'm doing now is no longer drawing the plants, but instead putting in some pretty heavy hatching behind it in order to do the shadow. And then that leaves the plant shapes or the stalks or the grasses, whatever, um, thrown into the foreground. The actual marks I'm making with the pen are the shadows behind the plants. It's been really hard for me to practice not drawing everything I see on the reference photo. I feel like unless the reference photo section is like completely white, that I have to put something down. And I'm learning that that's not true, that it's kind of like a trick of the eye, or it's more like suggestive to leave some negative space, but it's something I'm still figuring out. I'm showing this at about 2 times speed, so I'm not actually going this fast. Even so, this sketch didn't take me super duper long, maybe 15, 20 minutes. The watercolor I took a bit more time on, but this is a relatively quick sketch. Around these main flowers, I'm doing more hatching shading, not necessarily because it's darker around them, but because I'm trying to kind of frame them and make them the center of attention. Very lightly dotting in where this road is going to go, and then doing just the outline of that tree line in the back. There's a tree kind of in the middle there. I debated whether or not I wanted to put in these power lines, but I ended up doing it, and I like how urban it makes it look. Like, this is not some fancy hike I went on. This is literally someone's neighborhood, and that makes it feel super homey, and it reminds me of summer somehow. So there you go. We have this tree. I kind of like just doing the outlines for some reason. That's fun. And then this neighbor's house is just peeking out through those trees. I'm trying to go in with this thicker Micron, and I don't like how much detail it's adding to the back here, but I kind of want it to be like shaded. So I'm going in with my kind of faded brush pen. And I've used this before, but if I tip it on its side and put zero pressure on the pen and just let it glide over the page, it does this like grainy wash of gray, and I'm like, oh, perfect. So I'm putting it in as my like shade base back there. I feel like I started to lose the plot a little bit, and then I got it back, and I'm glad I made that switch from the Micron pen because it was just too defined, and this is nice and soft. I'm adding some of this brush pen to the flowers as well, just to give a little bit more shadow without hatching. I love hatching and cross hatching, but I also love these like washes of gray. I think that's my watercolor background coming out of like, I don't want harsh lines anywhere, and I just want it to be soft. That's cool. I like how the garden looks like it's kind of like a tangled, like messy garden instead of like this perfectly manicured. It looks a little bit like wildflowers. I really like that. I said earlier that I did always plan to do watercolor, but I really like how this looks just as pen and ink. So I am just about done with this sketch. And if you're like, wow, I love how it looks, don't do anything to it, then you can stop the video and then just pretend that this is all I did. All right, now I'm moving on to watercolor. I'm mixing up some pinks and purples and greens. I'm using undersea green and green gold for my greens. In the background, I'm just putting down Naples yellow to get this kind of glowy sunset. My paper is really wet, and I'm just going for it and letting it. I did like 4 brush strokes, and then we're done. And then I'm adding in this yellow for the sun, and then I'm taking a piece of paper towel and blotting up. I pressed down pretty hard to blot up that water, and then I'm adding in a darker yellow around it so that it's this sun that's glowing, and I really like how it turned out. I'm adding some of that yellow to the tree line, and then around it putting in a light wash of this green. And you can see how that Naples yellow is mixing with the undersea green to have this sunset glow on the trees before they turn green. Does that make sense? I want to continue that kind of glowing sunset, so I'm adding in some of that green gold, which is a yellowy green, which I thought was a nice transition between the yellow sun and the green trees. I'm putting in ultramarine blue, kind of a muted ultramarine blue down for the road, and making sure to keep some of that sun reflected on the road. And then with a big old brush, I'm putting in some of this purple. Then while it's still wet, I'm taking a smaller brush and just putting in these vertical little brush strokes of green, just so that it's not a full blob of purpley pink and that there's some color variation there. I'm being really light with my layers. And even though this is sped up, again, I'm working pretty quickly. So I'm trying to keep that kind of messy garden style. In those places where I put the hatching for shadow or put that brush pen shadow, I'm doing slightly darker green, and I'm being careful not to paint over all of the things that I wanted to throw into the foreground, like the flowers and like some of the stems. While I keep adding to this garden, take a look at the top left corner and how some of the green from the trees has kind of feathered into the sky and softened the tree line. I think that's really beautiful back there, and I'm not going to touch it until I finish the back tree line with a little bit of darker shadow, but I don't want to clean that up. I want it to be a little bit melty. I made a dark kind of earthy purple, taking my purple and mixing the undersea green into it, which mutes it, yep. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It makes it muted, but it's still cohesive because I'm using the same colors I used in the rest of the landscape. And I'm letting that be dark. I'm kind of sponging up some parts that I want to add more highlights. I'm also adding a darker shadow to the far tree line and letting that vertically come down into the garden line. That contrast is really nice between the purple and the dark greeny blue. And I'm just dotting in some foliage. I'm not trying to be super, super realistic here, but just to get the vibe of this big tree kind of looming in the background. You can see I'm putting down color and then kind of using my dry brush to soak up some of that, especially around this area where I want to protect that light part of the sun reflected on the tree line. I'm putting down the color and then helping kind of smooth that gradient by lifting with my brush. At this point, things are a lot drier now, so I'm going in with my Filbert brush, which is nice because I can get some really organic foliage shapes, but then I can also turn it on its side and it is very flat, so I can get some of that fine, precise detail. And I'm just helping out that shadow that I had built in with the pen by using the darkest green. And I'm putting that darkest green at the foreground of the painting and letting things get a little bit lighter as you move back. That's how it matches the reference photo, and that's what I would do even if I didn't have a reference photo, because things get a lot softer and less detailed in the background and darker and more detailed in the foreground. This is one of my favorite things to do with flowers that I'm trying to accentuate, which is to put a super dark shadow right underneath the flower. That contrast just kind of frames that flower. And I want them, again, I want your eye to be drawn to those pretty flowers. Then I'm adding some of that opera rose that I used to make my purple and just dotting in some color on these flowers just to give them a little bit of variation. And if that's too bright, I mean, number one, it's wet, so it'll dry a little bit softer, but I can always lift a little bit if it's too vibrant. One of the last things I'm going to do is some splatter. So because I want this to look like a tangled garden at sunset, golden hour, and there are probably bugs flying around and there's dust or something, dirt, I don't know, pollen. I'm doing white splatter, which I love the look of because it just helps it look a little dusty. Dusty is not the right word. Messy in like a very organic way. I'm redefining the back edge of this garden against the dark green of the trees. The green is dried pretty light comparatively to what I put down, so I do want to go back in and add just a little bit darker green there to contrast against the foreground garden. And that'll about wrap up this painting. Because I didn't tape down the paper, I don't have a crisp border, and so one of my favorite ways to make a painting feel finished is to put this really wiggly, wavy line border. It looks intentional, but the messier, the better, and so I'll go over it about 3 or 4 times, making sure that my lines don't overlap too perfectly. And again, that just adds to the kind of organic nature of this painting. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.